He imagined it filling again, up to its concrete rim, and then over all the water that had not been allowed to flow here for all those years now in unrelenting return, soon beginning to occupy the arroyos and cover the flats, all the swimming pools in the backyards filling up and overflowing and flooding the lots and streets, all this karmic waterscape connecting together as the rain went on falling and the land vanished into a sizable inland sea that would presently become an extension of the Pacific. Now listen, here's a few of my favorite things. Matches. Now I always liked fire. Fire good. But I loved fucking matches. The smell, that sulfur smell. It's so overwhelming that's the trope of when people, I took a big dump, and, use the matches, Cotton Hill, burning down the church. I brought these up before. And these are, and again, I'm not bullshitting, I'm shocked that it worked. But I know that they work, so I'm going to save them for special occasions. This is a matchstick from the Beatles' hotel room, the Warwick in New York, 1965. I have all the provenance and all the evidence. This is from their hotel room. It had been untouched, every match in there, till recently when I, for a comic gag, going like, hey, I'm boned, like, it was a good joke, and I'm like, this would be a good joke to use one of them. Let me use another one, because this one's gonna get. Fucking barely holding on. Can't believe this even worked. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd too distracted, you see. I began this by rereading for the 8th time the novel Inherent Vice. I don't know if I told you this, but I'm a big Thomas Pynchon fan. Did my English thesis in 2012 on the novel Inherent Vice. It's pretty good. The Things I Love the Most. Part 2. Inherent the Wind. Now, what's that lyric? I'm forgetting the song, but it's like matches and the rain, smell of rain. That's another thing too, the smell of matchsticks and the smell of rain. Those are the things that I love. That again have nothing to do with women or my romantic relationships or this kaleidoscopic, nostalgia I have for the past, because this is the present. There's no past. The future is yet to be, and it's the one thing sobriety has taught me, And again, I believe really in my heart of hearts that God is dead, but I still get on my knees every day and I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to thank the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Always liked storms, though. Something dangerous about them. I remember even my father, now it makes sense, he was fucked up. In the middle of this crazy lightning storm, him and the neighbor, another guy was probably like, hey man, Shane Anthony, help me find my neighbor's fucking needle, brother. They were just golfing, So I like golf clubs too. Golf clubs, I was poured golf clubs. They were just golfing in the backyard, just fucking high as hell in hindsight, but I didn't know that. I just see these two dudes fucking having the time of their lives out in the fucking rain. So anytime it would rain, it could be the biggest thunderstorm. Boom. I'd hit the fucking road. Oh, I loved it. I loved the storm. In the eye of the hurricane there is quiet. Or hey, I can show you when it rains. Day in the life. And then there's some moments that just... I try to keep a lot of the really important moments, especially the memories amongst my lovers, particularly their frailties. I try to play relatively close to the chest, If I have to talk about it, to talk about myself, I will. Some of the most beautiful moments I keep to myself, but there's one that I remember. Again, I don't know if you know this, but I love the novel Inherent Vice. So I first got into it while I'm pretty much Doc Sportello dating a Shasta Faye Hepworth. That's why I call her. She's not the Daisy from high school. This is a Shasta Faye Valentine. Again, actually, similar to Daisy, someone who really is. Both were in the humanities. Again, I think she diverged elsewhere, but she was a great writer, probably a better writer than me, but didn't apply herself as much. I remember one time out of spite, she was saying how, you can't write good poems about the stars. It's a hackneyed, nobody can do it. I'm like, well, again, I learned from my parents these passive-aggressive mind games, Really, you should just try to love somebody and connect with them and bolster up their strengths, even if it means, like, not showing your full deck, It's the human experience. Okay, we get it. It's not about fucking making people feel bad. If you have skills, you use these skills to make people feel good. It's easy to lose track of that sometimes in relationships, particularly when, other shit gets in the way. Things, again, sometimes they don't work out. We dated for a few years, more or less. There's always a discrepancy about when our relationship officially started. Fucking mother jinxed it one time. By going like, well, I guess it's gonna have time for the wedding. Now in hindsight, that's just so fucking... But yeah, we fell out. Things happen. People's people. Again, I had a lot of frailties, and I was... Especially after I'd graduated. Again, I wrote a thesis on Inherent Vice, which was good, but I was so obsessive, and I didn't know where I was heading. Heck, the very job I had gotten because of Shasta. It wasn't quite even like it was parasitic, but yeah, it went from being kind of codependent. It was just, I don't know, we were too close. We were real close. To a point where it was like, is this going to be just it? Again, we could have spiraled, my propensity for disaster. But I didn't take her, Again, I'm like a Walter White. I'm like, oh, you want to kick me out the house? Well, I'm going to crawl underneath and find my way back in, like literally, pretty much. So there was a lot of weird moments, But again, beauty in the breakdown. And this was again like this is literally an eye of a hurricane. There was, I forget the date. And I was developing a friendship with this beautiful, exchange student. Just a friendship. I mean, maybe it won't be, but, at that point, I was like, I can't. I have to keep this one platonic because it was, clearly there was love there. Not just a kind of, a romantic love, clearly, sorry if it's, for me at least, I don't know. They're people. Women are people. These women I'm talking about, they have their own agendas and their own psychologies and internal workings that, as smart as I am, I will never understand. That's probably why I love these people as much as I do. Because of the enigma of it, maybe. that mystery, that elusiveness, for someone who always thinks they know everything. It's humbling to think back, to have those moments of tranquil, just. But yeah, we had actually I put a good amount of keef in this. I'm sorry. I had it was a bad hurricane that was in there, so everyone was going to be kind of locked down in their room. So I was going to be spending the night with this exchange student, just to fucking, whatever, camp out. But Shasta's like, please, I need you. Something along those lines, I didn't know. First I thought it was just like, again, one of our weird, toxic kind of things. But no, she was afraid of the storm. Maybe I always was, but again, like I said at the beginning, I was so accustomed to it, the thrill. So we met up. It was late. It was like real late. It was that liminal state, sometime between like 3 and 5, where it's just like you don't know, in the sky, the color of the sky. And it was after a real bad hurricane. I'm talking, things were uprooted, like literally old, 100-year-old trees on that campus were uprooted. And this gas station that I used to go to for years, it's not even called Sam's anymore, but it's called Sam's, and these signs that would have been there were just blown off. It was crazy. I think it was like one of the few times that Sam had been closed. That's the thing. We'd went there. That was our destination. We're like, hey, we'll just walk. That's the thing. We didn't know what we were going to do. I was like, hey, maybe you can be, no, we were just. That was a moment, I think, that was going to be our last day. As couple, as lovers, outside of the physical sense, it's just, romantic bond. That was really our last, pure moment. After a horrible storm, there we are walking. I don't even know for how long. Probably it was maybe we spent a couple hours out there just walking around. Then we went from Sam's wasn't open, so we're like, hey, need to get a pack of smoke somewhere. So we kept walking. We walked into the city. Sun rose, I think. Can't even remember as the thing. All the details that I can remember as I was so in love with her in that moment, and I was so trying to soak in every moment of it that I couldn't even remember when it went from night to day. Or the time, I used to be able to know time to a T. Someone would ask me what time it was, and I said the time, I'd be like the exact fucking minute. But I don't know. I don't know the time. But I remember we just held each other. And it started to rain a little bit, a little drizzle, as if the storm was coming back. I don't even know if I kissed her good morning. I think we just maybe on the cheek. It wasn't anything, lascivious. It was nice. It was real nice. It was funny that of all things to mention in the limited space of the coconut launch postcard, Shasta should have picked that day in the rain. It had stuck with Doc somehow too, even though it came at a point late in their time together when she was already half out the door, and Doc saw it happening but was letting it happen. And despite it, there they were, presently making out frantically like kids at the drive-in, steaming up the windows and getting the seat covers wet, forgetting for a few minutes how it was all going to develop anyway. So yeah, I love matchbooks, and I'm not only happy when it rains, but for many reasons, I'm especially happy when it rains. So. Next time for me to talk about more objects and not at all anything weird or intense. Valentine's Day is about loving yourself.